This is Perri Mink, and it is March 2nd, 2019, just after 11:30 in the morning. And I struggled to get my personal computer working so that I could operate my video camera, and I got it working now. I am creating this video today because I'm scared. The housing authority here in Contra Costa County, California, Martinez, California, along with the VA HUD VASH housing program, sent me the reinspection letter for for a reinspection on March 5th, which is on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. And they never acknowledged the partial electricity that I'm still having since January 19th, I believe it is, and that the toilet tank flushing mechanism doesn't work, and that's not listed either. And so I wrote there was no instructions for me to ask for an extension. It was all about the landlord to come in and take my property, referring to it as clutter, and giving him the opportunity to extend the and reschedule the re-inspection. So instead, I wrote a letter asking for an extension, and I got it dated. I walked down there and I made copies for everyone. I have copies here that I had made, and this one was for the case manager at the VA. And I finally emailed yesterday, Friday, because I didn't hear any response back. And I'm wondering, what am I supposed to do? Tuesday is just coming, is coming up very soon. And if I'm here and all my boxes are still here packed, they're going to claim that I did not pass the inspection, and then they're going to proceed with me not having a place to live. So I wanted to ask for people's help in this because I don't have anywhere to go. This is a governmental system that is operated by certain people, not all of them. I'm sure a lot of them have tried to stop them from doing this. These are people that are comparable to the Third Reich. I mean, these are commie Nazi mafia type people. These are people from the Catholic influence to harm people. They go off of a list, and in their head, they're saying, okay, get rid of this person, get rid of that person, get rid of that person. And it's based on their ideals, what they think is right and wrong. I don't like where you live. I don't like the vehicle that you drive. I don't like your education level. I don't like your income level. I don't like that you are physically weak. I don't like that you are multiracial. I don't like that the food that you eat. It goes on and on. And the court system, the legal system here is the trap. And I had, made numerous complaints pleading for help because it's my right to live here in Martinez, California, or in my the city I was living in, which is Concord, where my sanctuary home was. I'm going to adjust the camera. It doesn't seem to be. Let's see if I can get it more. Okay. And I bought my mobile home with my own money. With my own money. I earned it on my own. And the government, Judge Barbara Zuniga, Commissioner Judith Sanders, and presiding Judge Marianne O'Malley at that time when I was at court, there for my civil case, Mink versus Encina Veterinary Clinic Incorporated et al., I had no idea that the court system was a trap, was a cruel trap, and that their entire energy, their motive, their secret demonic sexualizing is their driving force to get rid of people that they don't want in the legal system. It's a hatred, and it just kept moving, and I sensed that something was wrong, and that I did write to the FBI, I wrote to the Commission on Judicial Performance, and to my representatives, and it's like nobody would do anything. Why is that? Well, through hard work, I didn't know. I recognized the Catholic cruel behavior because my mother was forced to a Catholic boarding school when she was a teenager, and she had that same abusive momentum that doesn't stop. So through hard work, I didn't know if I could prove it, but I did. And those articles were written on patch.com. I have articles there, and you could get them through they're linked through my change.org petition. So I'm here to talk about the discrimination that is going on because it's related to sex and hate. Now, in the United States, we live in the United States, I live in the United States, I'm allowed to practice a religion, and the religion that I am practicing is called Christianity. That's just an overall general term. The doctrine that I practice is Jesus, the Prince of Peace Doctrine, and it's a bona fide doctrine. Now, there's some 4,000 Christian groups, churches, organizations, and each one has their own, if you will, doctrine. Some focus on baptism, some focus on the resurrection, some focus on, some focus on, I could go on and on. There's some focus on multiple aspects of the Bible. I'm practicing a bona fide religion that is peaceful. It is written in the New Testament. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit today because the people that are ruining me and want to ruin me don't accept the doctrines of the Bible that are based on the Bible, on the New Testament I'm talking about. What they've done over the years is they've altered that information to suit their own belief system. So I wanted to start off with, because this is a big issue, because one of the horrific torture and terrorist tactics included mocking my sex life. They went into my sex life. Okay, I'm talking about taxpayers paid for this. Government officials went into my sex life, illegally gathered information, hearsay, we're talking hearsay, from decades and decades ago, has absolutely nothing to do with the case against Encina Veterinary Clinic Incorporated. And they started mocking me through other people, neighbors, people that I had gotten to know while I was forced into the court program. So if you look at the Bible in the New Testament, and I use the King James. I showed this one in my other YouTube video. But if you go into the Bible, and one of the first ones that, let's see if I can, Winnie's in my lap, so I don't want to disturb him. He's laying down. So if you go to, let's see, Ephesians 5:22. I'll start off with that one because men tend to, at least a lot of the men that I met in the Christian churches, because I don't go to, and I hadn't gone to Christian churches regularly. Mostly when I first became a Christian, I had been going to churches to learn about what they were teaching. And so every 2 weeks I would go to a different church, and not knowing, because I wasn't raised in a Christian family. We were pagans. My mom was a practicing Shintoist, and my dad was very, very privately and quietly practicing Mormonism. His mother is Mormon, and his mother's mother is Mormon. So if you go to Ephesians 5:22, it says, "Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands." It doesn't end there, but the men end it there. Okay, that's not where you end it. It goes on to say, "as unto the Lord." So it doesn't mean that that the wife submits to the husband for the man. It's for the Lord. Okay, so then you go on and it says, "For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body." So the men stop at wife. For the husband is the head of the wife. Okay, that's not how you read the Bible and then apply it to your life. Okay, so I'm just letting you know that the people who are intimidating me, terrorizing me, scaring me, they even were spitting around me. They were claiming I'm a tease and I'm the cause of men's problems, sex addictions, and so forth. I mean, it's just horrific. So you go on to read, it says, and this is Ephesians 6:24, "Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything." Husbands, 25, "Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it." Okay, so again, it's not about the husband is being selfish and sex addicted. Has nothing to do with it. It's the complete opposite. You are to not be addicted to yourself. Then it goes on to say, let's see, where did I end? So so let's go to, let's go to the next one. The next one is 3:18. So here again in Colossians 3:18, it says, "Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands." And the men stop it right there. But it doesn't end there. It says, "As it is fit in the Lord." Okay, so it's not for man. And then it says, "Husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them." All right, so then if you go on to, what's the next one? 1 Corinthians, and it's 7:5. So it's talking about 7. Let's see, we could start at 1 Corinthians 3 says, "Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband." And I've often said that to people that I've known in Christian fellowship groups, that husband be benevolent to the wife and vice versa. So then on to 4, "The wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife." Then in number 5, it says, "Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency." So what that is saying, it's not saying, "Oh, well, when my wife doesn't want to have sex with me, I'm just going to go out and look for another woman." Okay, that's not what the message is. It's the complete opposite. It means that you fast and pray during the time that you are not engaging in a intimacy, a physical intimacy, because there will be times when there will be trials and tribulations even within the household. There could be sickness. There could be, you're busy at work, and you have to concentrate on issues that are important for the better of humankind, and those types of things. So a lot of these people that are purposely trying to destroy me are practicing something very destructive. Now, those types of decisions do not belong in the government. Those are coming from somewhere else. You've been influenced by the camera just stopped, so I just am speaking again.
The people in the government are making their decisions from their own personal ideals, their own personal lifestyle, something that's related to sex and then hate. For example, they're having sex relations there at the workplace, and I've talked about this before in previous YouTube videos. That happens, okay? That's your business. You don't mix that ideal with your decision when people come down to the courthouse. That's not legal. That's based on you making a decision based on your cult or your club or your culture. That cult comes from the word culture. So that's not legal. Now, as far as me practicing Christianity, that's my right. Here in the United States, we can practice a religion. When you go into the workplace, though, you don't force your religion on other people. You don't go out into the store and start telling the cashier you need to convert to Christianity, or you need to convert to Islamic, or you need to convert to
Buddhism, and so on and so on. So I'm speaking up on behalf of myself because I'm being destroyed on a very personal level. Hatred, I mean, such wicked hatred against me because of my religious beliefs, because of my lifestyle, because of my physical weaknesses, because of my disability. I'm speaking about my hereditary eye disability. I don't even have to explain any of this when I was at the courthouse for my civil case. But behind my back and without me knowing it, that's what the three women were doing. And they were probably getting other people to do it too, because I remember I was using the computer at the public law library at the courthouse, and very strange um, situations would happen on the screen. It would like blank out, but then it would come back in again, like phase back in again. So those were some of the issues I want to talk about in the Bible, because the people that are attacking me are misinterpreting the Bible, claiming that I'm the one that hates people or something, but without telling me. But they're mocking me about my sexuality. I'm a female, and I was born that way, and that's my right to identify with being a female. I don't want to be a lesbian, so don't force lesbianism on me. So over in the next part of this, a lot of people think that men, I guess, some men and certain other religions, think that a woman is not supposed, I'm talking about the New Testament, that women are not supposed to speak about teachings in the Bible. Well, it's not explaining it that way in the Bible. Again, the people that want to say that are doing exactly the same thing that they do with their interpretation of a role of a wife to a husband. So speaking about what the Bible means to me and how I was living my life based on biblical principles is my right. So I was practicing healing, and that's my right to do so. That's not criminal behavior. That's not illegal. It's not cruel behavior. And it certainly isn't bad behavior. So in 1 Corinthians, again, and this is, let's see if I could find this one. 1 Corinthians. Oh, let's see. 1 Corinthians, I guess it's 12:28. And it says, "And God hath set some in the church, first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, governments, diversities of tongues." And healing is part of practicing Christianity. And you learn healing. It doesn't come overnight. You have to study the Bible, and that's what I was doing. And through prayer, you can help people heal. It's not based on me. So I'm not going to be able to say, oh, that's all I do all day. Look, I can heal this person. Look, look, look. No, it's you pray and it's God's work. That's how it happens. I don't know when it's going to happen or not, but through that prayer, through faith, then you will see healing. And you could do group prayer. You can do prayer through letting other people know, please pray for my, sick friend, or you can just explain to other people who believe in prayer, and then through God, you may see the result. You're going to see a result regardless, but you can't just say, hey, it's me. Okay. It's hard to explain. I'm trying to explain it in a way that that from reading the New Testament, it's not about you and getting this thrill from doing God's works. That's not what it's about. And it's very quiet, very, I'm talking about healing, that you concentrate on that person or what is happening for the healing to occur. But in no way do you arrogantly say, oh yeah, I can do this, watch me do this. No, it's nothing like that at all. And I guess the people that are harming me want to take that away from me. And they have. I mean, I've had to spend so much energy on trying to just survive. I mean, I have to go into survival mode. My health just diminished and deteriorated to the point where they knew they were doing it. They watched me. They're sadomasochists. They watched me become weaker and weaker and weaker, and they just continued to play wicked games on me. I didn't know it at the time, and I had to keep trying to just get through each one of those acts that they were doing, but not realizing that they were actually conspiring behind my back with these other people to do it. For example, one of my jobs at the Rossmore News was to process the bulk mail, and it's heavy bundles, but I would take the bundles down to the Walnut Creek main post office there, and I would have to unload it on the dock. And I just kept getting weaker and weaker. Then when I'd go in, the person that was there who claimed to be a Christian, I believe a Seventh-day Adventist, would not even be there to give me the bags. So I didn't realize it until later, because one time I asked for rubber bands and he behaved very bizarre. And so I had to go into the back and get bags myself. I mean, this is what they just kept doing day in and day out, and they're still doing it. I mean, these are people that are obsessed. They have some kind of deranged mental um, mindset, and it's illegal. They don't belong in the government. That's not the American dream. They've ruined the American dream. All right, so I'm going to go on to that it's my right to practice healing based on the New Testament. It's my right, okay? So now I wanted to go and talk about how that there are women in the Bible, in the New Testament, that are there to speak or to, I guess I want to say, support the efforts of St. Paul, all the way back then. A lot of people want to play like women weren't participants in bringing forth the way of Jesus. But they were in there. They were sharing their homes. Back then, women had homes, and they opened up their homes for home church. And they were hospitable. Even if you look in, so if, there's in Second Timothy. If you go to Second Timothy, even in the back, let's see, I have Second Timothy 4:19 through 21. Salute Prisca, and I guess her name, that's short for Priscilla, and Aquila and the household. It, goes on to thank, do thy diligence to come before winter, greeteth so-and-so, and Claudia, and I mean, if you just read through the Bible, you're going to, in the New Testament, you'll find that there are women who were helpful and were supportive of St. Paul's efforts to spread the word about Jesus' teachings. You know, this isn't just a men's club, as some have tried to create. And it's just so sad to see that happen, and to see people like Pope Gregory turn Mary Magdalene into a prostitute all those years so they could just slander all women all over the world. And it's just sad. And then I wanted to talk about how, let's see, First Timothy, let's see if that's, see if I could find this one is 2:10. Okay, so here in First Timothy's, I wanted to talk about this a little bit because there's a reason why, there's a reason why the messages in the Bible and the New Testament are as they are. So in First Timothy 2:10 says, "But which becometh women professing godliness with good works." That means that the woman is going to be working for the better of humankind based on Jesus' teachings. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that women are going to be prostituting, okay? It doesn't mean that women are going to be stuck inside their home and not doing anything but, being barefoot and what did they call it? Barefoot and fancy free. And it goes on to say in number 11, "Let the women learn in silence with all subjection." And then, "But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve." Okay, why is that so important? And I've talked about that before because in my Patch article, I talked about how God put Adam in the garden first, and then God gave him charge over the garden, and then God created Eve, because Eve did not cause Adam to also sin, okay? That I wrote about that in the Patch article in part 4, I believe it is. And if you go on to read, it says in 14, 1 Timothy 2:14, "And Adam was not deceived." Okay, they're talking about, it just followed, "For Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression." So the reason why, partly, that a lot of people, I think that means that God maybe is favoring men first, or that women again are supposed to be subdued over a man, or that that means that the woman is supposed to be the suppressed by men. It doesn't mean that at all. It has nothing to do with that at all. It's a lesson about men and women being sinners. It's about men and women being responsible for themselves creating sin. I wrote about that in the Patch article, just very briefly. It tells you if you reference it from the New Testament. It includes men and women, not Eve is the sinner and Adam got tempted and so then he sinned. No, that's not it. That's people trying to misinterpret it so that they could blame the woman. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. It's cruelty. Okay, so now I wanted to talk about this Novus Ordo that I learned about because I recognized that the Catholics, this cruel Catholic MO, because I recognize it because my mother was doing that to us growing up. But this Novus Ordo is really wicked because, excuse me, because it also includes women sexualizing females. It went beyond just destroying females, which is what my mother kept doing. It went beyond that because before Novus Ordo, the church was teaching the females to become aggressive, like abusive men, and then they were supposed to degrade and demoralize and destroy the female spirit, which is totally against the Bible, which is totally against the teachings, Jesus' teachings. So the Novus Ordo includes the women sexualizing females and I guess intimidating them through mind-altering techniques to become lesbians. And if they don't become lesbians, then they're supposed to become feminists. And then feminists, I guess, are supposed to be like a rape mentalitist. Okay, but they're doing it to females. And this is just hatred. This is hatred. It's not based on Jesus' teachings. Okay, it's not. So why am I being attacked? Because I'm practicing Christianity and the Catholics are taught to obliterate Christians, Protestants. And frankly, Catholics should not be allowed to be called Christians. And I think that there should be legislation, new law that states that Catholics should not be allowed to be using the term Christians as their faith. It just should not be. They can call themselves Roman Catholics, as I described, I believe it was in my patch article part 2 or part 3, that Roman Catholics, that does not mean Christianity. It means like Roman universe. So, and their other terms are mean that too. Like the Holy See means universal church. It doesn't mean Christian church, it means universal church. And they shouldn't be allowed to be called Christians. So I realized that because they were attacking my sexuality, not only my sex orientation, but my sexual being, my sex experiences, which is just sick. Okay, I guess they did that because they thought I would commit suicide. Well, no, I'm not going to commit suicide. That's just part of life. Okay, I was 45 years old when I was defrauded by the vet practice. By age 45, you would probably have sex by then. Okay, so why? I figured out that Barbara, I guess, was. I question if Barbara was raped and molested as a child by her father, because that would condition you to then want to look into other people's sex lives so that you could get your rocks off, trying to compare yourself to what she went through. If that's what happened to her, I don't know, but she certainly did exhibit that behavior, that she would be living out a fantasy that she had when she was a child. So I have the right to live my life not believing in a sex and hate cult. So, for example, the Romans believe in human sacrifice, which means that human sacrifice means that you use somebody, you use people, You don't care what happens to that person. You just use them and then you discard them. And I guess the Catholics have wiggled their way into the legal system in California, and they changed things like at will, which is what they added to for employment. And so instead of saying follow the law, don't discriminate, just at a whim, you could just at will get rid of somebody. That's not what the legal system was about. Okay, that's something that people who have their own agenda, their own selfish motives would change something like that. And I think that changed in the 90s, or I believe it was the 90s, maybe earlier, I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. And so I have the right to not live my life believing and practicing human sacrifice. Okay, that's a belief system, and that you would practice it. That could be considered a religion. It could be considered a cult. It could be considered a philosophy if you want. I don't have to believe in that. And nobody can force me to believe in that and practice it. You can't, say, oh, I'm a criminal because I don't believe in human sacrifice. No, I don't believe in human sacrifice, and it's not criminal behavior to not believe in human sacrifice. And as a matter of fact, the laws are written as such that you have rights, that people have rights. You have rights to peace. You have rights to quality of life. You have rights to your property. You have right to justice. It's there, already written in the law books. But these Catholics want to ruin our rights, and it's illegal. It's hardcore criminal behavior, and you're not allowed to do it. So I have the right to not trade sex. So that means that a lot of these women get married because they're going to get attention. They get promoted or they get recognized in their profession. I don't want to do that. That's my right. I don't want to marry somebody out of convenience so that I can look good. That's my right. I don't have to live that way. I don't have to get with a man and have sex with the man and then he pays for my dinner. I don't believe in that, so I'm not going to do it. If the man or someone wants to pay for my dinner, that's all it is. You paid for my dinner. There's no exchange. Now, if you don't say something ahead of time and you don't say, oh, I'd like to buy you dinner so we could have sex afterwards, that's their own fault. Okay? That's their doing for not providing that information. So I guess as time went on, this rape mentality, this human sacrifice, because now they also call it human trafficking, which I'll get into in just a minute. I guess they kept advancing it, and so then it turned into date rape, and then it turns into marriage rape. I don't know if you want to call it that, but I guess it would fall under human trafficking. So human trafficking would be where you obtain somebody to hold captive, okay? Hold in your home, keep married to you so that you could have sex because they're supposed to put out for you. Okay, well, I can tell you that's not anything I believe in. And if that's what you believe in, then you need to, because I know human trafficking is illegal. That's illegal. And you are not allowed to practice human trafficking. Now, if you want to cover up your the camera just stopped, so I'm starting again. So if you want to cover up your
human trafficking endeavors, calling it marriage, then that's a big problem.
Okay, I don't believe in that either. So you don't just get married to somebody to get married. You get to know them. Well, how do you get to know them? You go out, you talk on the phone, you get together for coffee. If you get sick, you ask for assistance. That's how you get to learn about somebody. It takes a lot of energy to figure that out. So if you meet somebody and they can't even call you back, okay, well, that's a sign right there that
hey, they can't even call you back. That's pretty sad. And then that would be the other person's right to say, hey, well, I guess, we'll just part ways, no hard feelings. So you could do that with everything. Hey, let's meet at the coffee shop at 2:00 this afternoon. The person never shows up. Okay, so now that is an indication of the person who doesn't show up. That's how you get to know somebody. That's not a joke. Okay, so I don't know why these people in the government think that they could just keep mocking me for my lifestyle. Okay, I didn't create our society, so stop blaming me for this society. But I do have the right to practice a bona fide religion based on the teachings of Jesus. It's right there in the New Testament. So I think that the people that are trying to stop me are part of this commie Nazi mafia group. They won't claim responsibility for their terrorism, but if you look at the way that they're operating, it's just like Hitler. I mean, Hitler was a political force, and I guess communism was on the rise. And it just got so perverted and so barbaric. And they weren't just, I posted this on my Facebook just yesterday. It wasn't just about killing off Jews. He was about killing off people who were weak and physically weak and disabled people, and he was into bizarre, barbaric, cruel and inhumane medical experimentation, and I mean genocide and all this other stuff. And the people that have wiggled their way into the legal system here in Contra Costa County are practicing that. That's what they're doing. They're using the legal system to perpetrate this ethnic cleansing and genocide. And the traps are at through your landlord. It's through the rental system, housing system. It's through medical. It's through the courthouse. It's through as I mentioned in one of my other videos, YouTube videos, it's not just affecting civil litigants, it's in family court, probate. I mean, they were doing this to seniors that live out in Rossmore because they would tell me, they would say, we were at a court case, civil case, and we couldn't understand what was going on. Why were they doing that? One of my clients had a problem with attorney representation. They were just, it's like I say, it's a list of degradation. Oh, you went to this college, so you're worthless, Yeah, you went to UC Berkeley. I went to this college, so I'm better than you. I mean, this is the kind of absurdity that they're perpetrating on Americans here in California, on U.S. citizens here in California. White people, I'm talking about white people. Then they're using black people and Asian people and all kinds of people to go after people like me who are fighting for our right to our property, right to justice, right to live with our own religious beliefs that aren't harmful, that aren't illegal. Okay, so back to this Novus Ordo, they've hijacked. Okay, that's what I heard the term by a woman. I guess she's Catholic. She was on Next Door and she kept attacking me. Used the word hijack, that I hijacked. I didn't hijack. I had every right to respond to a women's march that was happening in Walnut Creek, that they were attacking Trump, President Trump. Okay, I'm not for that. I'm not for attacking a man just because he became president. They never talked about women attacking women. None of them ever spoke out against what the women at the legal system did to me all throughout the Obama administration. Never, nobody, not one. And so it just irked me that really disturbed me that the women would then speak out against President Trump, saying that he's a misogynist. Well, what about these women in the legal system and in the community that are misogynists? Okay, not only are they misogynists, but they're misandrous too. And the white men are being attacked. White men that are fighting for this country are being attacked, for this nation. I'm talking about for this nation, not for Catholics. Catholics are anti-nationalists. Catholics are anti-nationalists. I'm a nationalist and I have rights. It doesn't make me a hater. It doesn't make me a cruel and inhumane person or part of a very far right white supremacist, organization. Okay, that would be an extreme response to me saying I'm for the United States as a nation. I served this country. I served 4 years in the United States Navy when I got out of high school. I received an honorable discharge. But Barbara Zuniga is Catholic. She is an anti-nationalist, which means that they do not want to provide for veterans or for military, and that is illegal. And she should have recused herself at that time. And I would like to see the California government, local, county, state, and the United States recognize that as such. They have a history of anti-nationalism and anti-Semitism. And so what do? They wiggle their way in under the guise of a different organization. So right now, I guess it's been for decades, they wiggled their way into the Democrats. And by this Novus Ordo wiggling their way into the Democrats, they've hijacked the Democratic Party. And so the Democratic Party is all about protecting human traffickers, destroying veterans and people who want to protect human rights, civil rights, protect our property. And then they're claiming that if we speak up against that we're the haters. We're the haters and we're the ones that should be shunned. And I guess that's why eBay and PayPal tried to shut me up. But my history of living on this earth, even before I became a Christian, is that I'm a gentle-spirited person who cares about people and can heal. Okay, I don't know why I was doing that before I became a Christian. I was healing people before I became a Christian, not through anything that I was like, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't through me saying, I can heal you, I can heal you. It was nothing like that at all. It was through this quiet, subdued kind of listening, gentle, just like this gentle spirit around me. And then I would heal people. I don't know how it would happen. I guess it was just the aura around me. I don't know. I can't explain it. There are mysteries in life about our human nature that just can't be described. And I don't know how to describe it in real words. So for eBay and PayPal to go after me the way that they did, claiming, I guess without telling me, without eBay and PayPal telling me, claiming I'm a hater, I am not. I am a healer. I'm a healer of all peoples, and to keep putting me in that category like I'm some far right white supremacist, is just bizarre to me. It is sick. I mean, it is just cruel and inhumane to put me in that category. They are going by gossip. They are going by the haters and the gossipers in the sex and hate cult within the government, and they are lying about the reasons why they're in the legal system and why the Catholics have hijacked the legal system, and they're lying about their motives and what they're doing in the legal system. So I'm asking that eBay and PayPal not discriminate against me. I'm asking that anybody else, my Patelco Credit Union, I don't know why Provident Credit Union went after me. I am asking, any of these other companies that have gone along with this Novus Ordo, which is actually a communist Nazi mafia group, to understand how dangerous it really is to our society. Now, I posted recently on Facebook about more and more people are learning about this. You can find it on the search engine. You just type in like anti-nationalism and Novus Ordo, and you can find all this on their current YouTube videos on how the United States is being controlled by the Catholics, the Jews, which are the Zionists, and I posted about this in a recent Patch article and, on Facebook, that that the Zionists control the media, and they're really puppets to the Catholics. And the Catholics promote this sex and hate cult, this secret demonic sexualizing, secret demonic sex endeavors. And if you notice in the news, they've been attacking Hollywood and the movie industry for these top people being sex offenders and committing sex assaults and sex abuse and all the sex harassment, and even the what do you call these, the internet companies, the high-tech internet companies too have been exposed. But if you think about it, the history is that the Catholics, who are Romans, control the top elite Jews. So they used to be called the Sanhedrins, along with the Sadducees, which was a Jewish sect. And now, though, it's called the Zionists. And so they control the movie industry, but they're being attacked. But why isn't the government, the U.S. government, the legal system that is operating like the Catholic, cruel Catholic Church, right? The abuses that go on in the Catholic Church, they're operating just the same. Like I wrote in my Patch article, that the Holy See, the canon, says that they can lie. They make people into a scandal, justifying all their lies so they can cover it up. That's the MO. That's part of the MO. So you have to say, why would the government be attacking the Hollywood about the sex, these horrific sex abuses that are going on if they're Jewish? Do you see? So we need to speak out against the Catholics who are operating the government just like these sex offender priests cover-ups and nun cover-ups. This is really what's going on. And if you do enough research, you'll find that it is related to our government problems here in the United States are related to the Catholics, to the Vatican, the Jews, which are puppets to the Vatican. And then I learned recently about some other cult, and I don't know if that's part of the Novus Ordo, but I keep referring to it as the sex and hate cult. And it is illegal. It is absolutely illegal. But for people who are not Catholic, people who don't go along with this cruel Catholic MO, people who aren't Jewish, you can register as a U.S. nationalist. But if you're Catholic, you participate with this cruel Catholic MO, you're a Jew, you can't become a nationalist. And and it's illegal, though, for you to destroy U.S. citizens. It's illegal. All right, so I brought this up today because here's my calendar. And so Tuesday is March 5th, and that's the date for the reinspection. I'm supposed to be available from 9 to 4. I haven't checked my email yet because I was having a hard time getting on to the computer, and then it's just difficult. It just brings up so much anxiety, and it's just adds to the already anxiety that I'm going through. And I just think it's just so cruel to see other people in the community that aren't even Catholic go along with this harassment and terrorism directed at me when I'm fighting for people's rights. Yeah, I'm fighting for people's rights. How would they feel if, my neighbor was being treated that way? She's in her 80s, 84 now, somewhere in that age, 83, 84. How would she like that? But she participated in it, and I guess she was in on it with having my car completely ruined. I can't even drive my car anymore. It's just been sitting there for over a year now. And I still can't get help from State Farm. They went along with it. Why would State Farm go along with it? My agent had known me for years, since the mid 1990s, and they were the government, the hardcore criminal gov people were taking information from my State Farm claims and then like reliving it and then perpetrating it on me again, but using sex from my hearsay from people who spoke about me from past relationships all the way back from when I was 20 years old, 19 years old. And I think that's just so deranged, so vile, so evil, so cruel and inhumane. So I am just asking the decent people to do the right thing. I mean, this is the United States of America. I'm living right now in Martinez, California, and it's a third world. And it was created by the Catholics, and the Jews went along with it because there are, Jews, judges at Contra Costa County that are Jewish. Okay. And I haven't been able to get one woman representative to speak out against what the government is doing to me or what the vet practice did to me. They were committing horrible acts. I can't tell you how many times just on my beloved Elvira. And who knows how many horrible acts they were committing on other people's pets. And that's Nazi. That is Nazi. They believe in animal sacrifice. That's illegal in this country. That's animal cruelty. And they keep wanting to cover it up. So this is like my last, not my last plea, but it's one of my updates, I guess, if you will. But I'm pleading about assistance for this upcoming Tuesday because so far I'm at a loss. And the government, the cruel Catholic or the cruel people in the government don't want to acknowledge my anxiety. I have horrible anxiety all through my life since I was born. And it came from my mother being abusive because she was using the tactics that she learned at the Catholic school, boarding school. And she went to, and I haven't mentioned this before because I just didn't want to add a name to it, but she was forced to go to Sacred Heart in Tokyo, Japan. And I guess she didn't want to go. She expressed to me, that, and I'll just try to say, right now, I'll just try to say this not as strong as she said, but, it was, she didn't want to go there. And so she didn't tell me until my late 20s. But that helped me to understand more what happened. And I just feel so badly that her parents probably thought that they were doing a good thing because the Catholics present themselves that way. They present themselves that they are a legitimate school that is considered, a higher education level, if you will, and they're actually doing the opposite. They're teaching them to be very aggressive, very abusive, endless with their abuses. It has nothing to do with acceptance. It has nothing to do with coexistence. It has nothing to do with you know, uh, kindness or thankfulness or understanding. Nothing. It has nothing to do with that at all. So, but my mom was, she's not a Catholic, and so she was never talking to us about, any Christian Catholic teachings, except just the abuses that she learned, which are bizarre because it's just total abuse. It has nothing to do with anything but to condition the person to be an abusive, barbaric person. That's all, to be a terrorist. And I guess they did that on purpose so that they would, wiggle their way in and infiltrate their way into the government and then take over. And so that's what they've done here in California. And so we need help. We need help from, right, contact U.S. Interpol. I just recently learned about U.S. Interpol. We need help. Help us. Please help me. I'm fighting all this time, and I just have had nobody contact me in any rational manner whatsoever. None whatsoever. This is my property. This is what I have left of my property. And these women at the courthouse are bizarre. They can't speak English properly. It's like, no speaking English. That's so sick. That's cruel. That's inhumane. So I'm just asking that please assist in creating justice and peace for us here in the community that are being subjected to this abusive behavior. Because it's not just me. This is systemic. And we need help from the people I cited a case recently on Facebook where a man was secretly, demonically sexualizing females across the nation. He was from here in the Bay Area, and he was just convicted or sentenced last year. But he was going all over the nation, and he was on these single websites, these websites to meet somebody. And he was posing as a businessman or a doctor, a U.S. Navy captain, a war hero, all these things. And he was targeting women that were, white women that were legitimately working and successful. And then he was ripping them off. And that's what Dr. Roger Johnson and Kathy Shuttlesworth and Dr. Bissonnette did to me. And that's what they were doing to those other people. And they were probably targeting people that they thought had money, maybe. I don't know. I know they asked me what my job was. And at the time that I went there, I was an accounts receivable manager accounts receivable and collections manager. And so they thought maybe they could just keep ripping me off or something. I don't know enough to know if that would be true. That would just be, that evidence is there. I just don't know if that was the motive. And you don't have to prove that motive in civil case. You don't. So I, am asking that people in the government who seek justice, who are for this nation, they are against communism, and which I understand too that the during Hitler's time, I guess socialism was on the rise, and then it kind of really was communism seeped in, and then it became barbaric and terrorism and all this other stuff. And that's really what we're headed now. And I'm sorry to say that the Democrats and anybody that would be under the Democrats or the Green Party people, the progressives, would be under that. And then the conservatives are, and you have to say, okay, conservative. You can't just say put all conservatives in one group. You would have a conservative, there that would be on one end and then on another end. Okay, moderate. I think I referred myself as a moderate Democrat because I noticed that there was a shift in the Democratic Party. I didn't understand it really. And so the conservatists, I think, are being accused of being haters. Well, you can't just put all of the conservatives into a hate group. I mean, it's not making any sense. It's just not. I mean, this is just so wicked what's happening here in the United States. So all I can say again to eBay and PayPal and all these other businesses that want to claim that I'm a hater, I'm not. There's no evidence of me being a hater. I've been terrorized. My life has been destroyed. My property that I bought on my own has been damaged, defiled. I did nothing to these people at all. And I was conned by these con artist veterinarians, and the proof is there. The evidence is there. And that was my right to get justice in 2009. And I didn't know that the court system was run by these Catholics. Barbara claims to be Republican. She claims to be Catholic, and she claims to be M for male. I don't know if she's a man or a woman, but I still have rights being a female, and I have a right being a single female. And if I just never found the right man for me that believes in Christianity, practicing the way of Jesus, the Prince of Peace, then that's just part of life. That doesn't mean I'm a hater. All right, I'm going to sign off for now. This video is about an hour and 13 minutes. It shows almost on my timer. It blocked out a few times. I don't know if I caught all of them. I just caught one of them, I know. So I will keep posting on Facebook. And again, registering as a nationalist is what I am going to do. I have rights in this country, and the laws are already written. And apparently, the Catholics hijacked, along with the Jews that go along with them, somehow hijacked the U.S. Treasury. That's what I'm learning. It's all new to me. All right, I'll keep you posted. Thank you for listening. Say bye-bye, Winnie. Oh, I love you, Winnie. Okay.